Who and what is Elon Musk? The iconoclastic first principles innovator and billionaire is easily one of the most influential people in the world, and this is only getting more and more true. This new series will seek to delve deeper into what kind of person he is, what his companies are doing, and the profound, multifaceted impact that they will have on our world.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
In December 2021, Time magazine named Elon Musk Time's Person of the Year. The article mentioned a lot of the things that people have come to know about the seemingly enigmatic billionaire and visionary, such as how Tesla's electric vehicles are changing the automotive industry, or how SpaceX defied the odds to become the world's preeminent launch services provider, his effect on the markets, his aspirations to save the planet, and more. And yet, despite all the praise in the article, as you would expect when you're honoring someone, I still came away with a feeling that they just didn't get it. They still don't quite understand the impact that Elon Musk is having and will have upon the world. If you were to describe Elon by comparing him to historical figures, certain names would likely pop up. Industrialists like Henry Ford or Andrew Carnegie, the inventor Thomas Edison, some might say conman P.T. Barnum, or perhaps closest of all, in my opinion, billionaire aviator, engineer, industrialist, and film producer Howard Hughes. But the fact of the matter is that we only mention these other names because, so far, they are the closest we can get to describing Elon if we use real people. And yet, if we're talking about the impact that Elon has already had upon the world, it's arguable that he has already outstripped them all. And, mind you, he ain't done yet. To put it another way, in terms of who he is and what he has accomplished, Elon is one of a kind. We have never seen anyone like him before. If we take a quick look at what Elon has achieved, it is nothing short of astonishing. It's almost like this guy specializes in doing the impossible. Take Tesla, for example. Although Elon did not technically found Tesla Motors, he was retroactively credited with being a founder and is certainly the person most responsible for turning it into what it is today. Tesla is not only the largest electric vehicle or EV manufacturer in the world, it is by far the most profitable. But more importantly, Tesla is single-handedly responsible for starting the EV revolution. And if by chance you're wondering, what EV revolution? I guarantee you won't be asking that question for very long. EVs are sweeping the planet, and sales of EVs will replace sales of gas cars for the most part by the end of this decade, provided manufacturers can make enough. And that's another thing. Prior to Tesla, the other auto manufacturers didn't even want to produce EVs. That's why they have been dragging their feet for years, even though the technology to make EVs has been getting cheaper, even though they have been saying for about a decade now that they plan to make EVs, even though Chinese competitors have been ramping up production of their own EV brands as fast as possible. The legacy automakers have only started to focus on making EVs because they have been forced to, and that's all due to Tesla. But one revolution was not enough for Elon. At the same time that he was building electric cars, he was also plowing his fortune into his startup rocket company, Space Exploration Technologies, better known as SpaceX. After a grueling initial 6 years, SpaceX became the first company to successfully launch a privately funded rocket into orbit. Less than 20 years after it was founded, SpaceX became the premier launch services provider in the world, and no one else is close, not even countries. Bear in mind that at the time he established SpaceX and got involved with Tesla, he had no experience in the aerospace business or car manufacturing. Also, both of these industries have exceptionally high barriers to entry because they are extremely capital-intensive, labor-intensive, know-how-intensive, and highly regulated to boot. And it's not like Elon didn't know this. In a Tesla blog post, he once admitted, as of 2016, the number of American car companies that haven't gone bankrupt is a grand total of 2, Ford and Tesla. Starting a car company is idiotic, and an electric car company is idiocy squared. There's also an old joke in the rocket business. How do you become a millionaire? Start off as a billionaire and start a rocket company. In fact, Elon's friends were so horrified that he was going to start a rocket company that one of them even put together a video of rockets blowing up to dissuade him from throwing away his fortune. So you get the point. No one in their right mind would try to build either a mass production car company or a rocket company. But the amazing thing is that as much as Elon has already accomplished, it's nothing compared to what's to come. To be quite honest, he's really only just recently started to hit his stride. You may have heard of how Tesla is working on fully autonomous cars. Their FSD, or full self-driving, software is making great progress in real time. If you compare how well it reacts now in real-world driving situations to just a year ago, it's clear that it won't be much longer before it can drive more safely than a human being. Once FSD gets regulatory approval, entire industries will never be the same. Trucking and taxis won't need human drivers anymore. Ride-hailing services will be disrupted. Commuters will be able to be productive as they ride to work. Your Tesla could make money for you while you're at work in the office or sleeping. What promises to have an even greater impact after autonomous vehicles is general artificial intelligence and the Tesla bot. Tesla is already hard at work developing a humanoid robot that will be able, in the beginning, to do a lot of relatively simple human tasks, mostly manual labor. But ultimately, there will be no ceiling to what it can do. How is this possible? Because it will be able to learn. General artificial intelligence and efficient manufacturing techniques will enable Tesla to mass produce enough affordable labor to satisfy potentially all human labor needs in the future. And everything I've mentioned so far does not even include what Tesla is doing in the field of renewable energy. In the meantime, SpaceX is actively testing its next-generation rocket, called Starship, which is the early version of the spacecraft that will eventually go to Mars. Elon believes that SpaceX can actually reach Mars with an unmanned spacecraft in just a few years. The eventual goal, as many know, is to colonize the red planet. Sure, these are all just plans at this stage, but it wasn't long ago that the idea of colonizing Mars was only science fiction. Now, it's just an audacious goal. Today, there are over 12,000 employees at SpaceX frantically working to make that a reality. Sometimes forgotten in all the hype about going to Mars is that SpaceX has also been quietly launching thousands of satellites into orbit around the Earth, creating a network called Starlink that can provide internet and communications access to anyone, anywhere on the planet. Already able to provide service to ocean-going vessels in certain remote parts of the world, Starlink will revolutionize how people everywhere get their information. And then there's Elon's other companies, like the Boring Company, Neuralink, or X, formerly known as Twitter, his latest acquisition, which he plans to turn into a transaction hub that will rival or surpass the largest existing financial networks. So, in case you haven't put it all together, Elon's plans, all of which are already well in motion, will eventually impact the life of every single person on the planet for at least decades to come. And the crazy thing is, that's not an exaggeration. Whether directly, in the case of consumer technology, for instance, or indirectly, as through reduced fossil fuel usage and its subsequent effect on the environment, every single person on Earth will in some way be affected by Elon and his companies. And positively so, I might add. For all these reasons, Elon Musk is already a leading candidate for at least man of the century. Beyond that, well, I don't want to get too carried away. After all, it's still only 2023. This first episode, then, is just an overview of the man and his mission. Future episodes will drill down and focus on more specific economic, social, and political impacts. Man of the Century is essentially a history program, because we won't cover a lot of the daily minutiae that a lot of other channels already do a great job of covering. Instead, this show's goal is to try and put it all together in an easy-to-understand format to appreciate the myriad effects Elon Musk and his companies are having on the world.